good afternoon, everyone. Futures Brizio here at 1:45 p.m. on Wednesday, December the 20th. And I hope everybody's doing well. And for those of you that celebrate Christmas, whether here in the U.S. or around the world, hope you're getting ready for a really Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, obviously, to everybody. So the markets, as we head closer to Christmas in the last week of the year, are going to continue to drop in volume and volatility no matter what you're trading, whether it's stocks, futures, Forex, whatever. But there is still some volatility in the market this week, and we are still seeing some pretty decent price movement. I think, we'll have another day or two of this, and then obviously Monday is Christmas, so the markets will be, non-existent on Monday. And, even after that, things will be quiet until, after the first of the year. So be cautious in trading anything after this week. I know I probably will likely not be doing much next week, unless there's something, just really market driving that comes across the news that potentially, but other than that, I'll probably be done. Then the week after that, I'm going to be away, so I definitely will not be trading. Actually, that first week of January, I'll be out. So anyways, I want to give you a quick update. So this is crude oil, and I'm going to jump out to the 4-hour chart. And you can see in crude oil, we've been in this big downtrend here. Now, the last swing high we made was over here, back in, when was this? Late November? No, beginning December 4th. We had this swing high. We went down, made a new low. Now we've rallied all the way back through. Now, we did easily take out this swing. This is not really a big major swing because you can see it didn't come anywhere close back to our moving average. So, although it is violated, and certainly there was long opportunities within this area here, looking at the bigger picture using the 200 period SMA, simple moving average, we can see we have not violated the downtrend. And you can see as of now, the last 12 hours or so, we've come right back to this 200 period SMA, which we did right here, which we did right here, which both times led to new lows in the market. Now, again, we don't know if that's going to be the case. I think fundamentally there's some reasons to be bullish on oil, but we're just right now looking at what's going on the price chart. So here we are right now, and we have had this bullish 4-hour candle that's been unfolding here since noontime so about the last hour and 45 minutes. We've had this bearish candle forming here. Obviously, this is a 4-hour candle, so it's got another 2+ hours to go, so who knows ultimately how it closes. If we drop down to a 1-hour chart, here's those two rectangles. And I drew these two rectangles earlier today just as kind of, these are kind of potential support or demand areas where the market might react from. Well, we will see a reaction from these levels either way because everybody else sees these too. The question is whether the large traders, the institutions that actually move the market, care about these levels or not. And as you can see, we came down, we tagged this one, we started going back up, and now we're back to being negative again on this hourly chart. So you can look over here. I have two alerts set. This is an alert if we breach this area. It's basically just below this low right here. And I'm very tempted to take a short position right now on this because of the fact that we've been in this downtrend and because of the way this looks on the 4-hour chart. Looking at the MACD, I don't necessarily wait for MACD confirmations on the 4-hour chart in terms of a crossover. So we don't have that yet, but certainly on the 1-hour chart we have it. But we've had that false break a couple of times here. We had one right here, which was a false break. We had one here, which was a false break, and we had one here, which was a false break. All of these led to price going back up again. And so I'm being a little bit more cautious, but I am more optimistic about the way this looks right now and just the level, the area on the chart it's on the 4-hour chart versus these other times on the 1-hour where we had these sell confirmations on the MACD. So I said we had this one here where the white line crossed through the red, and that was maybe I guess you could say would have given you a little profit down to here if you traded it to this low, but essentially this was just a pullback in an uptrend. And then we had another one right here, and again, you can look at these little tiny little small candles. This just was no follow through. We came back into this area, and then price popped up again. And then we had this one within the last day or so. And again, a little teeny tiny signal. You can see these little teeny tiny signals, candles did nothing, right back to this, and then popped higher again. Okay. So now, as of right now, about 3 hours ago, we got another sell signal right here. And if we look at where this one is at right now, so it would have been this red candle right here was where the signal was. And now you see we've come back into this area. So now we're back to this area again. So my theory on this basically right now is that I'm waiting to see a nice bearish close below here. And then I probably would consider a short position, at least back to this area, which is the next 4-hour support zone down here, which is a little bit better than this one. So I probably would have a short-term target down to here, and then probably trail a stop, because we probably will get a reaction off this area. And then if it breaks through this area, then, you know, again, the next downside target would be here, and then the next downside target after that would be back to these previous lows. So there's definitely layers of support that are built in here, but right now, let's concentrate on where we are right now, is that I'm waiting to see what happens here. And again, the reason why I'm more focused on this area is because of where we are on the 4-hour chart relative to the 200 period simple moving average. Although again, we don't have a 4-hour MACD signal, but again, that's not really so much of a concern, because the MACD on the 4-hour chart is going to be really slow. Not to say you can't get a good trade on it, but you can see if you get a really big candle, your fill will be really late. You can see we had this signal right here, down here. You can see it was on this big engulfing candle right here. So if you had waited for that, it's on the close, you would have entered right where you see the plus sign right here. And you can see it only went down a tiny bit more and then shot up. So that's why I don't really, you know, necessarily like the MACD signals on these longer time frames. Now, in this case, it would have been great. But you can see the difference here. It was all the way up near the 200 period, so you had a very good risk to reward ratio getting this MACD signal versus this one. Over here, look how far it is from the moving average. And the MACD only got back to, didn't even make it back to the zero line, so there really was no good pullback here. And so this was not a good signal. But again, here we're well over the zero line, okay, and we are back to a key level on the chart. Now again, this doesn't mean it's going lower. We could easily just, you know, bounce somewhere in here and start putting in new highs. And certainly if we took out this high up here, then the whole fundamental picture of this chart would change to bullish. If, you know, for some reason this didn't fall from here and we came up and we took out, you know, this area right here to the upside, then my whole bias on this would change. But as of right now, we've been in a downtrend, and again, you know, I'm not trying to pick a top or a bottom in this. So I will continue to watch this, probably on the 30-minute to the 1-hour chart, and just see what happens. If we get any kind of a signal, like I said, I do have this alarm set right here, which, as you can see, is just below. It's just below this low right here, just in case it wicks a little bit. And of course, I'll look at it anyways. If it doesn't look like it's going to be a nice super bearish candle, it's just a wicks out, then I wouldn't take it anyways. But anyways, then, like I said, my short-term target would be back to this low right here, and then, you know, down to these lows. This is obviously an old demand area, but it's been used up, so I'm not overly convinced that this is really any good. But this would be the next. This would be the next target area. If it broke through this middle box, then, you know, this would be my next target area. So these are just kind of layers of support that you could, you know, let price get to, and then maybe trail stop as you break through these, and trail stop, you know, and just keep going and let it go down. And if, you know, if it bounces and takes you out, then at least you've locked in some profits. So there you go. So that's crude oil and where we're at. In terms of natural gas, it's almost kind of the opposite story. So here's the 4-hour chart of natural gas. Now, this is the February contract, and one of the issues with using long-term moving averages in futures markets is because you have contract months. So as you start going out into the later months, in this case February, Well, this moving average being 200 period has not had time to really draw a lot of back history. So I don't, even though this is clearly in a downtrend, I don't need a moving average to tell me this is in a downtrend. You can obviously tell by looking at it, but you can see it stops right here because we just don't have the contract history to draw this moving average. So I did change this one to a linear weighted moving average from simple, just so it takes into account the more recent price action a little better. So this is still 200 period, but I made it linear, which brought it down a little bit. But again, we've been in a downtrend, but you can see this move back up here was clearly different than all these little swings, where we were really respecting the previous highs. This time we blew right through it, took out this high easily, after this recent low that was made. Then we started going down again, and then we had a very bullish move right here. And now you can see we've pulled back again with much smaller red candles here on the 4-hour chart. And you can see this rectangle I have drawn here as a potential support or demand area. If we drop to the 1-hour chart, here's that price action on the 1-hour chart. You can see we did get a MACD signal to go short back here, and this actually would have been a decent trade. I did take part of this. I don't think I caught this whole thing, but I did take part of this, and this actually is a good trade. It is a valid sell signal. It's just it didn't make a new low. We only came back to here before popping higher. So I'm a little bit more concerned about this not continuing down just because there was no follow through on this. You would have think at this point this would have gone and made a new low, or at least back to the previous low, and it didn't even come close. We also had another sell signal right here. This is really not a valid sell signal. You can see how small the candles were. There really was no real follow through on this. So this one to me is not nearly as valid. It's just not as good of a setup. And now again we're back to this area right here where we previously rallied out of. And so I'm watching this area, and it's the same thing in this market. I have a sell signal down here, a sell alert down here. It's not an order, pending order. It's literally an alert on my chart, just outside of this rectangle. And I have another one up here above this these current levels. And if I see some real bullish price action here on the hourly chart, I might consider a long position. Although that's still technically against the larger trend. But again, the 4-hour trend is a little more questionable about what it's trying to do right now. If it's trying to put in a low and now go higher. And I have this alert here to the downside, like I said, just outside the rectangle. If this breaks through and we get some continuation, I might consider reestablishing a short position back to at least this previous low. So, and we did get a 4-hour MACD signal right here, but again, this is one reason why I don't like the 4-hour MACD signals, because you see that signal came in right in here, and so it would have gone down for a little bit. And again, this is a 4-hour chart, so I'm not minimizing this, but this is not really a big sustained move. It went down, for about 4 hours, and then you probably would have been at least stopped out, or certainly were in drawdown, because this blue bullish candle would have taken back any little bit you had left open if you hadn't closed the trade. So to me, this is not a really valid signal. So again, I'm just watching to see what this does. I don't know how much the holiday and lack of liquidity in the market is going to prevent these things from moving anymore. They might not do anything. We might just go sideways here and literally not do anything the rest of the year. But since this is oil and natural gas, and they are very market sensitive to supply issues and things like that, and weather, these could still end up having some movements here. So I will be watching these two to see if there's anything potential. But as of right now, as we speak, there's nothing, although oil is a lot closer based on where it sits right now for giving you some kind of signal, either up or down. Okay. The NQ and the ES continue to make new highs. I have not participated really in any of this. I've been really watching these energy markets. but we just continue to just push higher in the S&P and the NASDAQ. Um, I have no idea how high it's going to go. I mean, we've had divergence here forever, and we still just keep churning new highs. So we'll see. But that's really all I can say about that. And then the last thing, so this is an open trade I have right now. So this is a new market for me. I'm just playing around. This is 2-year treasury notes. And again, out to the 4-hour chart, again, just strictly looking at price action, not concentrating on fundamentals in this case. But you can see, again, we have a 4-hour, 200 period, simple moving average. I'm going to change this one to linear weighted as we speak here. And you can see it just hugs the price a little better. But again, because this is actually, I think, the March. Yeah, this is the March contract. So this, this is still a new contract that's trading, and so the moving average just doesn't have a lot of history. So, but again, clearly it's making higher highs, higher lows. So you don't necessarily need this to know it's in an uptrend, but it's just a visual. But you can see we came back. We had this huge move off of here, and this was during FOMC last week. And then we've kind of had this, pathetic little move back to the downside. I had, there was a nice trend line that I could clearly see on here, which was broken. And I got in back here somewhere. And you can see price went up and then came back, retested the trend line from the top side, which is a really classic pattern, for a retest this way. And then, price came up. Now it's come back and retested it again and does appear to be going up again. Retested this area right here. You can see the support and the resistance kind of merging together, right in this area right here. Okay, and so I am waiting to see if this thing rallies. It does look pretty bullish to me. I do have a take profit up back near these highs, which would be a pretty good trade. This could easily pop a lot higher, but just because I'm just kind of new trading this, I'm not going to be overly greedy on this. I'd like to just see, like I said, price get back to these previous highs. So I'm going to hold this one. I don't know how long this is going to take to play out. This doesn't move a heck of a lot, at least not right now. So I maybe end up holding this trade for days. I'm not sure. I thought it was going today, and then you can see it went back down to my entry. Came pretty close to getting knocked out. I have my stop loss at break even, just below those recent lows. It came really close to that, but it didn't take me out, so I was happy. And so we'll see now, how long this thing, if it's going to go higher, how long it takes to chug higher. But by the looks of the previous price action, I'm thinking that even if it gets to my target, it's probably going to take a couple of days to get there. So I will let this trade play out. If I end up getting taken out, I get taken out at break even. I'm fine with that. But if it does move higher, towards my target, then it could be a nice trade. And there was a buy signal on the MACD, although not particularly strong, but the buy signal was right there. And that's actually where I got in, and I'm just, I am in profit right now, but not by a heck of a lot, so we'll see what happens as this goes. I only have one contract on this at the moment. So, all right, so yeah, that's it. So, but again, for the energy markets, I'm just looking at crude oil and natural gas to see what they do. They're at important, especially crude oil is at a very important inflection point on the chart. On both the 1 hour and the 4 hour, so we'll see what happens. And you can see again, crude oil has come down into this area and now is finding support at this level. Not particularly strong, but we'll see if it manages to break through here, or if we're going to turn and go continue to make new highs. And again, if we continue to make new highs and we take out this high, then I think the next target would be back up to this swing high that we had back. When was this? At the very end of November. So if we manage to break through on the 4 hour chart and look like we're going to continue higher, and if I did decide to get a long position, my target would be back up here to these previous highs, which is still a pretty far way off, so that would actually be a really nice trade if that ended up playing out. But at this point, I'm really undecided, and I'm just going to let this thing sit right now, because it's quite possible it's not going to really do much here at all. But especially this time of day. But anyways, I'm going to leave it there. That's what I've been watching and what's going on. And appreciate you watching. Any questions, please leave them below. Please smack that like button. So it really helps the channel. And if you're just finding it for the first time, please smash the subscribe button. Ring that bell notification so you get notified when I post new content. I never sell anything on this channel. I don't make a lot of videos. So you never have to worry about me selling or pimping anything. That's not what I do here. And it's just for informational purposes only. It's not trading advice. Trading's risky. Make your own decisions. Manage your own risk. Do your own back testing. Trade what you want and how you want. This is just how I'm looking at certain assets right now. All right, that's it, guys. We will update you as these unfold. And appreciate you watching, and have a good rest of your day.